What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am MLB Chatterbox, aka Christian Corey. Welcome back to another video. You see the title and the thumbnail in today's video. We got a special guest on the channel here today, our friend CJ from the Four Line Podcast. Find him on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcast, I think. And we're talking about what else but the Yankees. Yes, the Bronx Bombers just finished up a series against the Cheaters in New York, the Astros. So we're talking about that here today and some other stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, CJ. So first of all, thanks for coming on. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where they can find you on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. Of course, I really appreciate it. You could find us on YouTube at the Four Line Podcast. I host out with my friend Brandon. We do pretty much weekly episodes, mostly talking about the Yankees and baseball. Like, we have other videos on the channel. We got some vlog stuff, not baseball related stuff coming soon. Maybe just some baseball videos in general. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming to the channel. So make sure you follow that. And you can find the Four Line on Instagram at the Four Line _, or you could find me, like my personal accounts, at CJ Pucala. I think my name might be on the screen. I don't know, but you can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Twitter, Pucala, Pukala _junior. I post a lot of baseball stuff on Twitter, so if you could check that out, I'd really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man, I'll for sure gotta check that out. I'm already subscribed. Yes, guys, go subscribe. Go help this guy out. They do banger videos. I'm not saying this because he's on here. I'm saying because I actually watch the videos.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
I watch your videos all the time too.
Oh yeah,
I really appreciate it.
Gotta support the baseball community for sure.
Exactly, bro.
So Yankees, well, let's just not, avoid the obvious. We're going to talk about what happened in the Yankees and the Astros series that concluded from New York. So first, I want to give your thoughts on what happened and what you think about that series in New York against the Cheaters and the Yankees that just concluded here today, actually.
Well, the Yankees have been playing some strong baseball as of late, so I am very happy that they took 2 out of a possible 3 against the Houston Cheaters, as I call them, Houston Asterisks, whatever you want to call them. A little upset we lost that third game. I don't know why we took out Garrett Cole with only 88 pitches in the 8th inning. I mean, let him go one more. The guy was looking dominant, but we took 2 out of 3. I am very happy, and I am also thrilled that the Bronx crowd gave the Astros a beautiful welcome back to the Bronx. I was enjoying every second of it. Considering the MLB didn't punish the Astros players, us Yankees fans, we took it into our own hands, and that's exactly what happened on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So the Yankees are playing good baseball. Not the same team we saw 2 to 3 weeks ago that was making errors all over the place. That Rays series, I was at one of those games, just errors all over, no hitting, awful pitching, but the Yankees are bouncing back. They're looking like the Yankees we kind of expected this season. So I'm definitely thrilled we took 2 out of 3 against Houston.
Oh yeah, the Yankees were dead in the water 2 weeks ago. I mean, they were in last place. I mean, it looked very, very bleak in New York. And the Yankees, not hitting. They were all or nothing. The pitching was mediocre, aside from Garrett Cole, as you know. And again, that's going to happen when you only get Garrett Cole and you don't address that starting rotation in Brian Cashman this past offseason. Again, they got James and Tyone coming off Tommy John surgery, which, again, you got to, look at it and be like, okay, this guy can't, it could be 50-50 coming off of Tommy John surgery. I thought they could have got Bauer. They should have got Bauer. He's been great in LA. Yankees, I know I'm hashing on old stuff and they're doing great right now. I get it. They had to get a number one, at least a number 1, number 2 type of guy to back up Cole and to put the pressure off of Cole in that rotation. And they didn't do that this offseason. What do you think about the moves that Brian Cashman made and really failed to make this past offseason?
Oh, I 100% agree with you there that we could have used a possible number 1 or number 2 type starter. Obviously, Garrett Cole's a number 1, but we could have used a guy like Trevor Bauer. I would have loved the Bauer-Cole, reuniting on the same team again, like in college with UCLA. I would have loved that. People are calling Bauer overrated. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's looking great in LA at the moment. But I did like the Jamison Tyone trade. We hardly gave up anything. And Tyone, he's coming off Tommy John. He hasn't looked bad. He hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked bad. I think he's all right at the moment. He's put together some good outings. I'm pretty sure he pitched against the Orioles a few games. I'm not sure. I think he might have pitched one of those games against the Tigers as well.
Yeah.
And he didn't look bad at all. It kind of fell apart in one inning. He always falls apart in one inning from what I've noticed. There's just that one inning where he walks a few guys, he gives up a few hits, but he bounces back eventually and gets out of it. Corey Kluber, he looked awful, like in a few of those starts. We start against Tampa, and there was another one that he looked terrible. But the two starts against the Orioles and the Tigers, he's looking like the old Corey Kluber back from Cleveland. He doesn't look bad. I mean, he's a big game pitcher who has experience. I'm definitely thrilled about that. But the one thing that's really concerning me at the moment is the outfield. Outside of Aaron Judge, lackluster production from Aaron Hicks, Clint Frazier, Brett Gardner. What Brian Cashman should have done is never traded Mike Tauchman in the first place. And another thing we possibly could have done is maybe sign an outfielder. I mean, Michael Brantley would have been a perfect addition. All in all, I think they look all right now. They're looking like the Yankees that I expected. Hopefully come out of the American League East and enter the World Series this year. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they've looked bad. I think Brian Cashman made some good moves with what money he had. He didn't have too much to spend this year.
Do you think that Gleyber Torres is a guy that can really stay at shortstop for the Yankees for the long term? Do you need him out of there, or do you like, okay, dude, we can deal with the Gleyber Torres, inconsistency. Just give me a starting pitcher, please, at the deadline. And another question, on the piggyback of that one is, who do you think the Yankees could get at the deadline if they are in playoff contention?
That's a great question. And I think Gleyber Torres has improved from what I've seen. Like, I don't know if you remember, but that game against the Orioles where he threw the ball away in extra innings and it caused the Orioles to pretty much win the game. He's made some other errors at times, but he hasn't looked too bad as of late. I mean, he turned a very nice double play against the Astros the other day. His defense is getting better. He's made some nice plays as of late. So I think if he continues to improve his defense, I think the Orioles series that time, or like some of his other errors that he made, I think he kind of flipped a switch. I mean, people were calling him out in the Braves series where he wasn't like running to first base. He was like just barely even jogging. I think after that, he kind of flipped the switch, and he's looked a lot better defensively since that moment, and he's looked better offensively since then. Yeah, he hasn't hit a home run yet, but he occasionally just hits a... What would happen?
A month into the season.
A month into the season. I mean, it's very weird. I mean, I don't expect that from Gleyber Torres, but he's not looked bad on offense. I mean, he's had some singles, he has some doubles. He's getting there. I mean, his defense is definitely improving. But at the deadline, a guy I'd really like to see on the Yankees, and I honestly think the Yankees could pull this off, is Joey Gallo.
But, I mean, on the pitching side, who do you think you could get for... I mean, they need another starting pitcher. You know that. I know that.
I agree.
I mean, like last season in the playoffs with Cole, I mean, I got on Cole's butt, on the Yankees' butt, for not letting him go longer. I mean, he's the ace of your staff. He's a $300 million man. Step it up.
Yes.
Pitch 8 innings. I mean, for God's sakes, please. I mean, this is ridiculous when it comes to the Yankees and starting pitching. I know they have the massive bullpen, but again, the reason why you got Garrett Cole is to not use a bullpen. That's the only reason why you got him.
And that ties into today's game where we bring in Chad Green in the 8th when Cole has 88 pitches and he's given up 2 runs and he's looked fantastic for the whole game. Deadline-wise, I think we definitely could use another starting pitcher. It's kind of too early to tell who might be on the trade block, who might not be. Last year, I remember it was Lance Lynn was the hot target, Sonny Gray. Those were all guys floating around last year.
And they're not top of the tier type of guys, too. I mean, no disrespect, but they're not what the Yankees want and need to help them get to another 28th World Series championship.
Like Taijuan Walker's name was floating around last year. Marcus Stroman was, and I thought the Yankees should have signed Stroman in free agency.
Yankees overall, 2 weeks ago, this team dead in the water. Okay, now let's not overreact. They swept the Tigers. My Tigers.
Yeah.
And I could sweep my Tigers. My Little League, I mean, not my Little League, my high school team could sweep the Tigers. I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not that hard to sweep the Tigers down.
It isn't.
It isn't. It's just, I mean, they won 10-0 the first game. They won 6-4 and 2-0. I mean, for God's sakes, relax. But then you go into a team like Houston who comes into your house and you win 2 out of 3. Now that's not a sweep, but it's good. I mean, you beat up on the cheaters, which is a good thing. But prior to those 2 games, I mean, they lost a series to Baltimore. I mean, that's not good. They lost. I mean, not a series. They lost a game to Baltimore. They split the series, a 4-game series. They split the series against Baltimore, and they almost swept Cleveland. But again, they split the series against Atlanta. They lost in a sweep to the Rays. The Rays have been kicking their butt. They almost got swept by the Blue Jays. I mean, these teams they need to beat in the East, they're not beating. Do you think that this Yankees team is on the upswing, or do you think this is just like they got lucky against the Astros and they rolled over a terrible Tigers team?
Well, I mean, that is a good question. I mean, people have been saying online, oh yeah, they beat up on the Orioles and the Tigers. Who cares? We all know the Orioles and Tigers are bottom of the barrel teams at the moment, but the Astros are a top tier team in this league still, as much as I hate to admit it.
Yeah.
They still have a nice little squad over there. And for us to take them down 2 out of 3 in our own stadium, it kind of is encouraging to see, because outside of the past few weeks, they've looked bad, like really bad.
And they've been the same team they were last year. They can't score runs consistently. It'll be like one inning,
exactly,
home run, and then the next 4 or 5 innings, strikeout, scoreless.
Nothing. That's what happened the other day against the Astros.
Going to the Astros series specifically, that was an entertaining series. I mean, it was funny with the trash banging, the Oscar.
That was awesome.
That was great. I mean, the Jose Altuve, making him look like Oscar the Grouch from the trash can. I mean,
that was amazing.
I mean, it was a fun series, and then you get the Yankee security. I hate security. God,
the fun police, man, the fun police.
Right? They go and they take away the trash can, and it's like, this is the one place that you want this stuff to happen. The Astros, they're not gonna like it, but suck it up, please.
Exactly. I mean, Dusty Baker was like, oh, yeah, like Lance McCullers, Dusty Baker. They're all saying, yeah, these guys could take it. But obviously, they can't, because apparently the Astros, I believe this is a real report, the Astros apparently sent a memo to the MLB asking for security personnel around all 30 MLB ballparks to tone down on the taunting and the booing and the trash cans. So the guy dressed up as Oscar the Grouch wasn't allowed in the stadium with the costume, because MLB in place a new rule that said, oh yeah, you can't do this, and this. Like, as you said, they can't bring in trash cans, because the funny thing was that guy, he actually asked Yankee Stadium security over the weekend, can I wear this costume? And he showed him a picture, and they said, yeah. But they put in a new policy, apparently, like the day of the game or the day before the game, and it kind of screwed up the whole thing. But I think the Astros are soft for allowing that to happen, for doing that. And I mean, I don't think the Yankee Stadium security wanted a repeat of what happened in an Angel Stadium with the inflatable can on the field.
I love that. I mean, why are the Angels complaining? They sucked. I mean, like, why are they complaining? They weren't even close to the Astros.
I don't know what they're complaining about.
Even when they were not cheating, they weren't even close at the Astros. So it's so ridiculous that Yankee Stadium and the Astros, they're in cahoots together, saying, F you Altuve, whatever, grow up. Please.
That was awesome, by the way. The
grow up. No pun intended. I know Jose Altuve can't grow that much, but just please grow up.
Exactly.
Please. Like, he can't grow. I understand
exactly.
that. I understand.
Exactly.
Just grow up, please.
Exactly. Like, I know the Yankees game I was at April 16th against the Rays. Play was interrupted in like the 8th inning because fans were throwing baseballs.
Oh yeah, I saw that on your story. I'm like, what is going on? Where'd they get all these baseballs from?
That whole thing started when in section 202, the one next to us, there was a bunch of these drunk college guys. The Rays center fielder, Brett Phillips, he was fooling around with them for like a few minutes, and he kept throwing them baseballs. Like, he kept throwing them the warm-up balls, and then some moron, like in another level, threw a baseball on the field. The Rays left fielder threw the ball, like a foul ball, into the stands, and he threw it back on the field.
Wow.
And then he threw it back in the stands again, and then 2 more baseballs came out. And the next thing you know, the people next to us started throwing them. They started coming from all over the place. It was something else, but apparently they increased security a little bit, because the game I was at, there was no security anywhere. I mean, really? I was able to just walk wherever the hell I wanted without a word being said to me.
They've been sticking to this Stanton and Judge thing for a while. I mean, they could have got Harper, they could have got Trout, they could have got guys out there in the free agent market and brought them in. But I mean, they kind of stuck with that homegrown type of talent, and they still believe in that, which I give them credit for. But at some point, you got to pull the trigger.
I think this might be the last ride with this core. I mean, Aaron Judge, if he continues to play well, I think he'll be extended. Gleyber Torres, we have him locked down for another few years, but Gary Sanchez, he's going to be out the door. The way he's performing, I think he's going to be gone. I think it's best for us to trade him for some prospects, maybe some pieces, and let him just go.
Also, I want to ask you, when it comes to the Yankees and their opponents, who's the toughest opponent? Who's a tougher opponent, I should say? The tougher opponent. Is it the Rays or the Red Sox right now?
Personally, I think it's the Rays. I mean, we've had the Red Sox number a lot over the past 2 or so years. I mean, last year,
well, not in 18. Not in 18.
I think, well, not in 18, obviously, but I think they won 1 game against us last year. Out of the 10 or 12 games we faced them last year, they won 1 game against us. Personally, I think the Rays are the tougher opponent. We've had a really tough go with the Rays, and especially over 2020, 2021. Been rough against the Rays, and obviously we got bounced by them in the postseason. So I think the Rays are the team to beat at the moment.
But let's transition over to like just YouTube in general and baseball YouTubers. Like, okay, you've seen Trevor Bauer's vlogs, right?
Love those videos.
Dude,
I love those videos.
love that guy.
I love those.
He is like my new favorite YouTuber, and he's the only pitcher that I like to watch. Like when Verlander was with the Tigers, Verlander Day. I mean, like you with Cole, it's like it's Cole's
Cole
day.
day.
We're watching the game. Cole's on the mound. It's W.
Like everything with the Yankees, like I drop everything I have to do to watch the Yankees, but especially Cole Day. Like today, I had school during the game. I'm on my virtual school, and I turned the game on in the background, and I'm just focused on Garrett Cole for an hour.
I mean, I guess Cole's good, but I mean, I'm not, I'm the Tiger. I'm not gonna watch the Yankees, but
you probably watched him last week. When
I watched him. I watched him last week. I actually was watching the Dodgers and Cubs game on ESPN like a couple nights ago, and Bauer was on the mound. He got pulled early for some weird reason. I think it was
I heard about that.
Yeah, but I like watch him and his vlogs. Turn on the Dodgers at like 11 o'clock at night when they're on the West Coast playing somebody, and I love to watch his vlogs. I mean, I think we need more of that.
I do. But we need more of that from players. I mean, because he's helping grow the game of baseball through those videos.
Yeah.
And if more players decide to do that, it can help grow the game even more. Because baseball's having a problem growing the game, and that's mostly in part of Rob Manfred, which is another rant I could save for another day. I think Bauer is setting a great example for a lot of players in this league, and I think moving forward, that could be a great addition throughout the league. I mean, you have some players from if several teams do some vlogs, and boom. I mean, it grows the interest in baseball, which is huge.
But I mean, what do you think baseball can do besides getting rid of Rob Manfred that could help grow the game of baseball to younger millennial generations?
Well, first off, I mean, I know, actually, where I'm from, I mean, we have two teams over here, so we have the Mets and the Yankees, and the Yankees have been good over time, so those things are passed down, and a lot of people, a lot of my friends are Yankees fans, and we got a lot of Mets fans, so I'm kind of split between my friends. I mean, with basketball, the Knicks and Nets out here were awful for years, so you have a bunch of random fans from all over the country over here, but now in New York, it's strictly Mets and Yankees, so everyone's interested, especially when the Yankees and Mets play each other. I'm helping grow interest in baseball with some of my friends who never really watch it. I send them my videos, I tell them to turn on the game, and boom, I mean, they've become somewhat interested in baseball, which is what I like to do. I mean, baseball is a fantastic sport, and I hope that it could grow even more one day. But one thing the MLB should do first is get rid of the blackout restrictions. If you have MLB.TV, if you know about that, that is a huge mess. That takes away access to baseball games from fans. They need to market baseball players more so they become more known. If you see Aaron Judge wearing a Nike shirt, well, Aaron Judge is an Adidas guy, so let's say you see Aaron Judge wearing an Adidas t-shirt on the subway or something, you'll be like, oh, look at Aaron Judge. I mean, he's popular.
Yeah.
If you did that more with the faces of baseball at the moment, like Tatis, Trout, Judge, you'd gain more popularity in the game. And another thing is you have to put baseball on TV more. I mean, you have to have some more nationally televised games on not just ESPN, but what is Fox doing? I mean, you got to have some Fox games during the week possibly. So
I think they got to expand to bigger networks. You look at Monday Night Football. They got it on ESPN. They got it on NBC. They got it on ABC. They got it on this. They got it on that. They got it on
everywhere.
Fox. Every major network, they have it. Baseball, it's ESPN, MLB Network, Fox Sports, and Fox Sports 1, which is the exact same thing.
Yeah,
so they need to have it expand to ABC, NBC, CBS. They need to have it on those networks that are easily accessible to the majority of people where you don't have to go buy the MLB package.
I think another thing is baseball has to be more interested in social media marketing, because I actually read an interesting article a while back about how my favorite hockey team is the New Jersey Devils. They actually gained a lot of fans because their social media team is fantastic. I mean, they post things that apply to our generation. They talk to people. They interact with people. That's something the Yankees, I mean, everyone knows who the Yankees are. The Yankees have the biggest fan base in sports in my opinion, but some teams have to engage with their fans, market more on social media, post good stuff for kids our age, and another thing, you don't see highlights from baseball on Instagram
ESPN.
A lot.
Or on ESPN.
On ESPN.
It's
you don't see it on ESPN. You don't see it on Overtime. You don't see it on House of Highlights. You don't see Bleacher Report.
ESPN on July the 4th and see nothing but football highlights.
Exactly.
Nothing. That's what I'm telling my friend. They're so biased. ESPN.
You know what I saw yesterday? Instead of talking about John Means' no-hitter on ESPN Instagram, they post videos of people flipping bottles. I mean, seriously.
No.
I mean,
I feel like I've seen that.
In order to grow baseball, you got gotta promote this stuff because people will be like, "Yo, look at John, look at this guy. He just completed it." Like people will search up what is a no hitter, what is a perfect game if they don't understand what it means, and then they'll be like interested in baseball. That's what they have to do. I mean, you don't see baseball highlights on ESPN, Instagram. You don't see them on Bleacher Report. You don't see them on stuff like that. Baseball needs to get back in the mainstream and appeal to the younger generation like us. I mean, they have to market it better and they have to show it to more people. It has to be on TV more. It has to be on social media more, advertising more. That way people are interested in it and like apply to our generation, which is, I mean, we have a lot of technology. We have phones, we have computers. Post like some stuff on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter.
I mean, like I saw Yankee Stadium there have advertisement on TikTok. I'm like,
yeah,
that's interesting.
I mean, it is interesting because it applies. I mean, I love TikTok. I watch the app all the time. It applies to our generation because most of our generation has these apps. So if you market on these types of things, people will gain some more interest.
It was fun. I appreciate you coming on the channel, man.
Yeah, no problem, bro. I really appreciate you inviting me on. I had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, I'd love to do it again sometime, and maybe we'll do it when the Yankees are in the World Series or the playoffs. So we'll see.
Oh. Hopefully.
I appreciate what you do on your channel as well, man. Keep growing the game, man.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. You too. Keep growing the game of baseball, man.
All right, will do.